So producers are sick and tired of rappers and singers. Everyone is sick of rappers and singers. They don't put in work anymore. They're stuck up. Producers are struggling to put out music because artists don't want to work with good producers. They run to big labels and big producers get shit on. I made 50 AI songs and they're getting 10 to 15,000 streams a day. So the artists. AI will make them work and they are up against competition. I asked him actually several times because he comment bombed my videos to link me to these songs that are supposedly making up to 20,000 streams a day. So far it has been crickets. I'm just curious. I want to see. And yeah, a lot of producers who are sick of rappers or really just sick of networking and trusting the process and working harder are running to AI. Now, I'm not here to argue with the AI fanboys. I'm really not, because some of you are absolutely crazy and you are willing to die and kill for AI, seriously. But I wonder why you don't feel played by Suno. I feel like Suno played a lot of you because, number one, you see cases such as your colleagues in the music business hearing their tags getting output in Suno's output. And then you also see the situation with Haven losing upwards of $50,000 because he used one of Suno's studio's voice changing models, and it turns out, it was stolen from a famous singer named Georgia Smith, and now Spotify has withheld all $50,000 that were coming to him. But people are still defending Suno over Spotify, over the singers and producers themselves. Okay, cool, whatever. But I am starting to hear the quiet whispers of anger and dissent within the Suno user community immediately following the announcement that they have partnered with Warner Music Group. Apparently in 2026, Suno's models will be entirely based on whatever WMG licenses to them, which means the days of Suno scraping every song from the internet and allowing you to create derivative works from copyrighted materials from who knows where are over. People are mad about that and they have questions. Does that mean that our previous output will be erased? The previous models, what's going to happen to those? Makes you wonder about Zanaya Monet, because if she's using a Suno stock voice, what if that stock voice isn't actually legally licensed? It's probably not. And Suno is changing a lot, including the pricing, including the free models, including... let's just get into it. No, I'm pretty sure this is real.
No, it's written too well. He's trolling. He says, why doesn't Suno also have a feature to write the prompts for you? This has to be a troll.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't put anything past anybody. But so having said that, I don't know if you're aware of all because I sent some of this, but we know Udio fell to UMG. Their users are mad. They can't download any of their music because they signed that UMG licensing deal. So now they have to change their models and they have to kill the current models and phase them out. So you can't access stems or you can't download any of your music. People are mad about it. Is that going to happen to Suno? They just signed a deal with Warner Music Group. So I have some insight into that. First of all, I learned about a Gemma lawsuit, or maybe it's Gemma. I don't know. It's Germany's PRO. So it's like their ASCAP. But I checked out, it was Universal Publishing South Africa, where there was this clip that was I think I shared that with you, where Nick Matsoukas from UMPG is making the claim that the Gemma lawsuit is what's going to set the standard globally. And what happened with the Gemma lawsuit is that, I'll show you the article. They successfully sued OpenAI, which is that huge company that had the whistleblower, I believe, that ended up dead under suspicious circumstances. So there's a lot going on, but Bollywood is also going after OpenAI for that in their separate court system. But they found that OpenAI infringed on the copyrights of existing songs. And it's like, duh, no shit. We've been saying this. There's been proof of that. So with regard to Suno, this to me isn't a shock because we've seen proof that it outputs producer tags. So Top Music Attorney just updated everyone on Instagram talking about the tag situation where Suno just very recently, like within the last month, was found to output a Zaytoven tag. And prior to that, at least a year before, maybe 2 years before, Suno was shown to have output tags from Honorable C Note, Day Trip, a few other very notable producers. Interestingly enough, I don't know why their publishers or their performing rights organizations didn't seize that opportunity to, go after Suno. Maybe that's a part of the larger lawsuit. I don't know. Taking it back to Udio, now that they've signed their deal with UMG, the platform's effectively shut down. Suno has announced a deal with WMG, and it sounds like it's going to go down the same path. So, according to the official Warner Music Group website, they made an announcement. They said the old Suno models will be phased out. They used the term, what did they say? It was a weird word that that didn't really fully explain or convey what they meant. It was like one of those euphemisms. But there will be no more free downloads from now on. And pay users will have monthly caps, because now the music that the models that Suno is training on are going to be licensed from Warner Music Group's catalog exclusively. What do you think is going to happen to these platforms now? Or what's going to happen to generative AI now that the the three biggest generative AI platforms are facing these broad, sweeping changes and losing lawsuits all of a sudden?
Well, did it say, or did you just say that will it be the same thing as Udio in terms of not being able to download the music
Well,
into their
yeah, I
facility?
mean, what's going to happen is they're phasing out the old models. So more than likely, they're going to freeze all the existing user generated content. Maybe not user generated content, but that's the fear. I was looking in Reddit, and people are freaking out because what happened at Udio was that if you log in right now and you had an account, you paid for it, everything, and you want to download your old generated tracks, you can't now. So I'm guessing that's what what Suno's going to do via WMG, because I don't know. We saw this coming, right?
Yeah, I mean, and they still got hella other lawsuits to settle too. Like yeah, I have no idea. I don't even have. I don't see the path forward. I mean, obviously AI will still be here, but I don't know how it's all going to shake out, and if the users are going to like what the product needs to be at the end once all these lawsuits get resolved.
I don't
Because
think they're gonna get resolved though. I feel like they're just gonna get bought out, paid off, whatever. I don't know.
but do you think that was the plan all along? Like, if because I think it is. I think it was the plan all along, where these tech companies are here for the tech and for the capital. They're not here for the music. They've made that clear. The labels are moving further towards tech, and there are people that will say, well, no one at the labels ever cared about the music. I don't agree with that. I think there are people at labels that do care about music. I think the overarching goal of the labels is to just make money, regardless of the musicians, the people behind the music, etc. But I think now it's painfully obvious that this was just a money place. Because if I'm a tech bro, right, and I'm trying to get my valuation up and this, and then Dame, you can offer more insight into that. I don't care what the outcome is, as long as the outcome generates income for me, because it's very clear that stealing millions and tens of millions, hundreds of millions of songs, I think it's clear that that's copyright infringement. To them, they would make the argument that it's fair use, but regardless, fair use is a defense for copyright infringement. So they knew they were at least in legal gray area, but they had generated so much venture capital and so many users that it was too big to fail at that point. So I think they knew that eventually they were going to have to settle with the labels, but they also knew that what they did was created a technology that now could not be undone. And it was so big, and they had so much money and so much momentum and so many users, that the labels, being who the labels are, wanting to make money, would have to strike a deal with them, because the labels wanted a piece of that. They just wanted to decentralize it. Sorry, they wanted to centralize it.
Yeah, my thing is because the money that was raised, I don't know when it was committed, like, but it was relatively recently. Like, the people that are investing, like, know all this stuff is going on. they're typically not idiots. So I just feel like there's a lot of information that we're not privy to, or maybe they did just get hyped up by AI and the growth that Suno had experienced over the past couple of years. I don't know. I just think there's a huge piece of this that we don't know.
What if you're investing? You think the value is going to go up with the UMG and the WMG partnerships?
No,
Oh,
I don't see how. Like I don't well because I feel like it's limiting the product. Like that's how
that's
I
what
look
I think.
at it. At least initially, like that's how I would see it. Like you're. I mean, there's so many other creators. There's so much other music. Like just subscribing to one major label, maybe that's all they need to train them. I mean, that's a lot of music. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of music. It's a lot of hits. Um, but you know, yeah, and maybe it's just my ignorance in terms of how AI continues to train or train itself. I don't know, but like once it ingests that data, maybe it just learns off of the stuff it continues to create. Like, what if there's other innovations outside of what they now have access to? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me being ignorant to how it works, but I would imagine that it limits the product just having one like data library. I don't know.
I feel like this is going to cause even more legal problems because you got to figure, right? So take someone like me, right? I've sold beats to UMG. I've sold beats to WMG. Do I have to opt in, or are they just like, well, we own his sound recording royalties. We own all the masters. We don't need anyone to opt in. We don't need any producers. We don't need any songwriters to opt in. And then that creates a legal issue because you've infringed on my underlying composition copyright. You don't own that. I still retain my rights to that. So all these songwriters, like say Beyonce opts in. Okay, does Tiffany Red have to opt in because she wrote some of the songs? Does S1 have to opt in because he produced some of the songs? Where does that line get drawn? And will there be more legal consequences for that? I don't know. I mean, it seems like with the exception of Gemma, it seems like all of the lawsuits are coming from labels and not publishers yet, at least.
I think they're getting lawsuits from every which way. Like I think, but also like I also feel like they probably ingested every piece of music that exists, already, whether willingly or like unwillingly. Like it's in there. Like so.
Well, they claim they're erasing that and starting fresh. And so they're just
Right.
taking UMG. But it's just like, all right, if you just take WMG, what about the
How do
artists
you
that are
erase
dead?
that? That's a lie.
Yeah. It's
Right.
fishy, right?